just fine. So it must not be updating the location of everyone else on my screen.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the live Mirandus Stress Test /AMA thing. My name is Jason Bitbender Brink. I am here with Eric Schirmeyer, the CEO of GalaGames, and Michael McCarthy, the game director and master of the world of Mirandus. Hope everyone can hear me okay, so I'm just going to go to our Discord at GalaGames.chat. We will be in the Mirandus Discussion channel taking questions and talking as people play through what we've got set up in the world of Mirandus for the stress test. I would like to remind you that this is a stress test. The entire point of this is to break the game. So, if the game breaks, did we break it already? Really? If the game breaks, that's the way that it's supposed to go. We win. Everyone is happy. So don't feel bad. It just means that we need to reset the server, and then people can try to go in. Now, if you have already wandered around the world and you are happy that you've seen stuff and it's super fun, go ahead and log out so someone else can log in. This server instance will take about 100 people. That may be going up over time. We'll see. But 100 is what we're shooting for right now. And I know that there's thousands of people that are trying to get in right now. So
I just logged out so someone can get in.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Discord. And, oh my god, why I have so many DMs. Something must have broken. I love our community. They always send me...
You guys want me to tell you about what's new in the build?
Well, hold on. Let's wait. Let's wait. Can anyone... Okay, Ed, spamming win Mac, not helpful. Okay, yeah, that's...
I think we'll slow mode that channel.
That's, yeah, we're going to be slow moding the Mirandus discussion. 1 second.
I got it.
Channel. You got it? Okay. Okay. Okay, now, keep in mind, guys, that this is going to be live for a week. So you don't have to get in during the first hour while we're doing this AMA. You will have a whole week of hours, 24 hours a day that you will be able to go in and play around and look around and stuff. So let me go ahead and...
they want you to link the AMA.
Yeah, I was getting ready to do that, but I will do that right now. I have to go get the We Are Live. Okay.
How's it going, Michael? How's the server holding up?
Checking, dude. I'm getting some interesting...
Getting some good data?
Okay, so we're good there. Everybody can see us. So, question for people in the Mirandus discussion room. Can you guys hear us okay? Can we turn McCarthy up? Yes, let me turn McCarthy up. I turned him down a minute ago since he was maxing out the register, but I can turn him up again here.
Never turn me down.
Okay, 1 second.
I feel like I'm talking at a conversational tone.
No, you're fine. You're fine. It's not you. It's me. It's not you. It's me. How's that, guys? Is that better? Can you guys hear him better now? Okay, there we go. I'm seeing that hit the red register. Say something, McCarthy, really quick.
Hi. How's everybody doing? Everybody having a good day?
Okay, Ed, just so you know, we will be releasing Mac builds eventually, but we can't build for every OS out there as we go through the test. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot to. There's already so many moving parts and things that we're breaking already. If we added another skew in or something, it'd be really tricky.
Okay, Walrus Munchies. Hey man, welcome. I've never seen you here before, so I'm absolutely delighted to see new people. New people here. Walrus has a great question, McCarthy, if you don't mind. New to the Mirandus discussion and game in general, how are the death mechanics handled in game? Are NFTs deleted, or is there a wait period between deaths?
So we don't burn your token, guys. We can't really do that. That's your token. I mean, there could be, we've thought about in the future having a smart contract that you could enter into, like mega hardcore mode, or like a stadium or something, like an arena, and two people could walk in. They could enter into a smart contract and it could burn their token, whoever like wins the outcome of that battle. But no, we're not, when you're playing Mirandus, your game items are safe and your things on chain are safe. They're yours. There will be a massive penalty for death, though, and we don't know exactly what that is yet. But for people new to Mirandus, we're trying to just simulate a fantasy world. This isn't going to be a typical jump in and grind all day type of game. It's going to be more like opening up a continent of mystery, and you guys are going to get to explore it. And people who have been deep into the land or slain an epic level creature are likely going to be heroes of the world, and people will know their names, and you'll be able to recognize them when they walk down the street. So in order to really make heroes a hero, we have to make the penalties for death quite large. Otherwise, it's just about time. It's like, a high-level player or somebody really powerful, well, he's obviously played this game a long time. We don't want it just to be about time. We want it to be about skill and ability and approaching this new continent in an intelligent way. And if you just run deep into the woods and you're a level 1 player, you're gonna die. You're gonna die. There's a lot new in this build. Part of me thinks, because a lot of people won't be able to get in, should I could make a little local build here or something, Brink, and we could share the screen and I could talk about it.
I don't think it's going to work well for especially sharing your ginormo screen. That's kind of the
I can share a window.
Yeah.
Might be able to share a window. But anyway, guys, there's some new things that you'll see once you guys get in the game, and just keep trying. You'll get in there eventually. There's a grand number of people trying to get in at this very moment. But when you come into the game, you're going to be kind of greeted again by this, kind of Ready Player One, Sword Art Online, Gun Gale Online, this kind of, fun techie interface that's kind of like your projection into the world of Mirandus. And we have the API integrated. It's not perfect, but you can enter in your Gala credentials, hit login, and it does connect to your wallet on Gala. So if you have purchased an exemplar, you will see that in the list. If you hit login and you don't have an exemplar, it'll tell you you need to get one and give you a link to the store. And we've made most all of the exemplars available in the store for you guys right now. If you have an exemplar, you can hit play. You'll be able to jump into the game. Bunch of new stuff in there. Good FPS updates. So multiplayer should run faster. FPS should be better. And there should be way more stuff in there for you guys to see in general. There's clouds. There's cloud shadows. We've had day and night previously, but day and night now is persistent. And players and synced. So players should be at night at the same time, should see daytime at the same time.
Hey, McCarthy, I got a weird question in a DM.
Yeah.
Some dude says that there's a rock with a word on it. How did that happen?
A rock with a word on it?
Yeah.
How did a rock with a word get on it in there?
How
That is so weird.
That was a grammatically complex sentence. Let me diagram that in my head. We'll run with that.
There's a rock with a word on it.
Yeah, I don't know.
What's the word?
There's another couple of these DMs coming through. I don't want to say what the word is, just in case it's a special word just for him.
How strange.
But yeah, so both Cropper.
Anyway, so we got day and night. You should be able to see that at the same time as everybody else, and we've got kind of a concept of flags that can now fire, giving us an additional level of artistic control in the environments. We know when nighttime hits, and you guys will notice when nighttime hits, lanterns can turn on, and we can cue different audio, so it feels a little better to be in the world. And part of building what we're building isn't just the getting things technically stood up. We're always trying to be getting to the vibe of the game and the feel of the game, and updating the art and some of the audio helps inform us what it's going to be like and feel like to play, and make sure that we're on the right track. Persistent objects are in, so we have a concept of tools. 1, 2, 3, and 4 on your keyboard will give you 1 is seeds, 2 is bucket, 3 is sickle, and 4 is hoe. And there's crop plots, and those deed owners out there will know that they've got crop plots on their deeds. This is an outpost. I think there's supposed to be 3 crop plots and 1 animal plot, but we just made them all crop plots for this. You should be able to use those tools, and clicking around on it's kind of janky, guys. It doesn't work great. But what we haven't refined that. What we wanted to get to is that those objects are persistent in your environment, and as you are planting seeds, another player can see that. So that's a bit of a tech update, and it's kind of the springboard to having all sorts of things in the game that all of you can see at the same time in the same state. So that's new. Yeah, I think those are probably the big chunks. Those are kind of the big chunks. Feels a lot better for me just to be in the game now. I feel like it's starting to give me that feeling I would have to be in the world of Mirandus. It is dark at night, and there's just starry sky. And I'm kind of desperate for animals in the environment. I want to see a bird, or I want to see a deer off in the distance in the forest. That's kind of coming up next. Next we're going to deepen what you can plant, get the crafting system in place, and then start getting some wild animals and creature and a bit of the ecosystem connected up. So crafting and animals would be kind of high on our list next. And if that's all working well, then we would extend it to creatures, evil creatures in the environment.
Evil creatures, you say?
They are evil. We've made the decision that evil is evil.
Mm. Is there a concept of neutral? Like, is a wolf evil, or is a wolf neutral or evil?
Some people say wolf, just so you know. It's just a wolf, so a wolf is not evil. I hate it when people make wolves and animals evil. Right. Evil is evil in the game. A wolf is, it's just going to do its thing. It's going to stay away from humans. But if people start killing a lot of what it eats, then the wolves will get hungry, they will get more bold, and they'll stand a higher chance of attacking people.
Hey, McCarthy, could you mute notifications on Discord, please?
Oh, yeah, I'm getting a lot of boop boops.
People are asking about the boop boops in the background.
There's so many. How's that?
Perfect.
Sorry about that. Man, there's a lot of posts on these words.
Yeah, I'm seeing a few people saying some stuff here. And it looks
Weird.
like Cha-Cha24 is saying hi. She always has nice things to say in Twitter.
It was me. Don't flex. It was me. It was me. I'm sorry.
Death Magnetic says, what could we expect for end game content? Is there such a thing as an end game, McCarthy? I mean, my answer is Mirandus's life. You know.
No, yeah, no, we're not targeting a single player adventure here, guys. It is our intention to build a world. Players are going to be controlling where the towns are, and there's going to be these living ecosystems in every zone, and we're just I like the idea that Mirandus isn't a game with an end boss, but is just a world that you can live in. And I think if we do it right, we're going to, it'll feel that way. It'll feel that way. We're going to always just keep extending the content and revitalizing what's there and existing. It should be a world that you can live in. A lot of players don't just want to run in and try to kill something. They're going to be able to make music, and we've been talking a lot about a painting mechanic as well. Like the ability for you to paint, people can watch it live. You'll need to have paints and canvas and everything, but then that paint itself and that painting that you have, maybe that is the only way that paintings could make it into the world of Mirandus. And, great painters would be sought after, or if your inn or tavern has an amazing painting on the wall, that's an incredible thing. All on chain. People want to sit in.
Let me ask you a question, Michael. I have one here that I actually want to know the answer to myself.
Yeah.
Mytharian writes, what kind of damage can be done to deeds?
I was just going to ask that too.
And by whom? For example, can a player rob a poorly guarded storehouse? Can an NPC goblin destroy a poorly guarded storehouse? What is lost when a creature's attack?
No.
Well,
if creatures, so first off, I think the loss with creatures we can say is life. Now, and again, guys, there's a lot we have to build here and make sure that it works, but you don't want creatures in your town. If creatures are coming into your town, it means you probably have a smaller place, like an outpost without maybe incredible walls built up around it, and you're probably in a very dangerous spot. The higher you go up in deed level, the more scared that evil creatures are of your establishment, and they kind of will stay away. And we like the idea that you can upgrade your deeds and your walls and make them even better and cooler. But your deeds and your buildings are on chain. And I think if you were to upgrade your inn, if you were to upgrade your forge, I would probably consider that upgrade to be on chain as well. And then again, to have a creature come in and burn it to the ground, we can't, because you're on, there's things in our game that are going to be in the database, and there's things that are going to be on chain. And if it's on chain, we can't really mess with it. And honestly, I'm not sure I like games where a monster can come in and just ruin an entire town. It doesn't work very well. It's like, what if everyone worked really hard to build a town? There's one player that, finds a few evil creatures and, goes Leroy Jenkins mode and drags a bunch of evil creatures from the center of town, and everyone loses all their buildings. It's a world where people can come together and they venture out to find danger. But if you own a deed and you own a building, you can consider that to be safe. But people not as much so. People not as much so. I love that players are posting screenshots of the game too, guys. For everyone that can't get in, I think it's a lot of fun for people in Gala Gold to be able to see screenshots. So if you if you find something you think looks cool, man, definitely, post those shots. Kind of gives everyone else a little bit of a glimpse, and then when things die down, they'll be able to jump in too.
Yeah, I think that
That's
this is going to be cool.
one.
But can I push back a tiny bit on some of the concept of resource loss and things like that? I mean, it just from my perspective, and specifically from a blockchain perspective. I mean, if you have a storehouse of, say, wood, okay, that wood by itself isn't actually on chain yet. It won't be on
That's
chain
true.
until it reaches a certain amount. Like, for example, you could have, a bunch of wood that you would then convert to a wagon load, which might be on chain, but the individual units of wood wouldn't.
No,
Okay,
that's true.
so
That's always
you could lose resources. You could lose things that you had collected. You could lose drops that had never made it to chain. So if you were collecting
You're right,
wheat,
Jason. Yeah.
you might be able to lose wheat unless it had been converted to bushels or to loaves of bread that were. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah, no, it's totally true. And again, there's a lot of newer players here that haven't seen the other AMAs and stuff. And we do have to draw a distinction between what's on chain and what's not. And we kind of consider those to be core resources. Like if you gather some wood, or maybe like venison or a pelt, that might not be on chain. We're thinking the best place to have something be on chain is during crafting. And again, that line of what's on chain and what isn't is mostly going to be determined, I think, by what the players want. If you want to own this item and you want to be able to move it around on chain and do whatever you want with it, it has to be on chain. We need that step to occur.
Right.
And I think players are going to want that step to be, I think it makes the most sense to be during crafting. So there'll be a lot of core resources of the game that'll just live on the database. Those you could lose, or they could be burned by a monster potentially. But once it's on chain and in your hands, we can't really burn that token necessarily.
Right.
But these are always big discussions internally, where exactly that line is. But we so far like the line of core resources, and then crafting being where you make something on chain.
Yeah, you guys, I don't know what you guys decided not to do bingo. We don't make the bingo games. You have to make the bingo games. Okay.
Wait, before they even make it, can we just bingo it before they even like post it?
I'm sure we could. I'm sure we already have. We bingo things on a regular basis.
Oh gosh. For people that are in the game right now, I jumped out too so that everyone could be in there.
Mystical Oaks won bingo, by the way. I would like to officially say that it was Mystical Oaks. And she and Yuki are two good friends from the blockchain space, so shout out to you guys.
So are people trying to get in and can't right now?
Oh, okay, so Punjab asks a great question. You don't understand. How do you get on and off chain? Why not have everything on chain? Okay, so here's what I want you guys to think about when you look at the way that a blockchain works. Okay, everything that if you were to put absolutely everything on chain, every time you do anything, that becomes a transaction. Okay, so you swing your axe and you get +8 wood. That's a transaction. You swing your axe again, you get +8 wood, that's a transaction. You swing your axe again, you get +8 wood, that's a transaction. And if you have 150,000 people doing this, there is no blockchain in the world that can handle that type of transaction volume. Okay? Plus, transactions have to, at some level, have a cost. If you have transactions that are completely, totally, 100% free for as many transactions as you want, you oftentimes end up with chains that get very bloated, very overloaded, and you end up with a lot of desync issues where certain parts of the chain have certain data, but it can't update and propagate across the entire chain quickly enough to prevent you from ending up with like chain splits and things like that, which is the worst thing in the world. You totally don't want. So what we're doing with GalaChain is we're saying, okay, look, if you look at a game, you have on a scale of 1 to 10, you have different in-game actions, some of which would be on-chain, some of which wouldn't. So right now, in the world of Mirandus, if you walk forward, okay, you could think of that as like a 1 on this 1 to 10 scale. 1 being doesn't need to be on-chain, okay? Number 10 would be selling a sword that you have created in your epic forge or your legendary forge, okay, that is jewel encrusted and has a it has magical properties to it. Selling that to somebody else for X amount of money, okay, that definitely 100% is a 10, has to be on chain. Every other in-game action, from planting crops to collecting resources to fighting bosses to having hits and all of that, like all of those things could potentially be on chain, but if we put them on chain, it doesn't help things. So what we do is for each game in the network, we find a place to put that slider, okay, to determine exactly what needs to be on chain. There is no chain that can keep up with the speed of MongoDB. Doesn't exist. So what we do is we adjust that slider and say, okay, these certain objects definitely on chain, and we give people the ability to make some choices. So for example, one of the things that we're looking at doing with GalaChain is saying, okay, each user gets X number of transactions per day, and that gas gets replenished. Okay, and you can choose whether or not you want to make a transaction or you just want to have the object be off-chain. Now, the benefit of having it off-chain is it's very quick, it's very easy, okay, but it's not transferable and you can lose it if you die, okay? But if you put it on chain, you have X number of transactions per day you can do for free, and then you might have to pay some small amount to make those transactions. That's kind of the way that we're looking at that. But you can't put absolutely everything like movement and every time you swing a sword, like that can't be on chain. It just doesn't make sense. I hope that answers the question.
Kind of no reason for it to be either, And an on-chain transaction, I think we're targeting sub 5 seconds and stuff for
yes, definitely
for the GalaChain. So it'll be fast, but there's some things that we might just want to give you pop, and that
exactly.
That we can just do on the DB.
You're muted, Eric. I see you trying to say something there.
Yeah, I got a question that I think sounds kind of fun to at least talk about. Luke says, will player factions or guilds be able to go to war?
Yeah. I think that's just such a fun part. So Mirandus is not PvP. We're not making it that you can just walk in the game and then, oh, I'm dead. Somebody decided to kill me. I think that's just a little too much. But I do think that if you align with a faction and those two factions agree that they want to be at war, that, I think those two factions should be allowed to kill each other on site. I think so.
I think that would have to be something.
Yeah, what?
I think that would have to be something, smart contract based, where you enter into like a blood feud or something like that. And part of that blood feud means that you are putting certain things on the line. So if somebody of an opposing faction that you have a on-contract blood feud with kills you, then you could potentially suffer permanent loss of whatever those objects are.
Yeah.
But they could also suffer permanent loss of whatever their objects are. It would have to be a smart contract-based thing. You can't just like stab somebody and, take their stuff.
Yeah, taking somebody's stuff is another thing. Because we can kill you in the like you could kill each other. Doesn't mean we can take things out of your wallet.
Right.
So they're still yours. If once they've been kind of crafted on chain, it's just we can't take something out of your wallet. But again via smart contract, and part of this is why the GalaChain is so important, is that we can make stuff like that and tailor it to specific fun game needs. But I absolutely love the idea that there could be two feuding factions and there could be an unbelievable amount on the line. That would be very cool. That would be very, very cool. My engineers are asking me questions. I am checking. I am checking.
What are they asking?
Stuff.
So, Atomic.
Somebody asked a good question though, Jason, way back. I forget who it was. He said, "Will everybody start in the same place?" And I remember Michael talking about his vision for how things get started. I wonder if Michael can talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think what we're thinking, guys, or what's going to be the most exciting thing is that all players, when the world opens up, are going to start at one point. From there, they can spread out and put their deeds where they want to, start making buildings and crafting. And I also think we also like the idea that you could explore potentially by small boat, like a canoe. We keep saying the word canoe as a way to say, is there a 1 or 2 person thing that could maybe have some additional storage that would allow you to maybe go down the coast a little bit or up a river. We're trying to just make a big continent and let you guys explore it. I think it's going to be incredibly risky to do that, but probably very exciting too, because you might get to see something that no one's seen before. Once deeds start getting placed, the citadels especially, once they're living in the world and have found their place, then I think it might be cool to let players have maybe have a choice so that they could begin in a particular citadel or other. But I don't know, we're not locked on that. I like the idea of a central point that branches out. I think if we did that, think about how the world might look. It would look like, what would you need immediately when you first arrive, and the deeds and the houses, everything would be tailored to those people that just got there. There might be really, really wonderfully safe roads within, the first few zones that could take you to that first great citadel. And there's, maybe that citadel would want to be in that zone when you first arrive, So yeah, I think it's a mystery, guys. I think everyone who's coming to the game should be presented with this world that they get to explore. And there's something kind of fun about traveling between towns for the first time, or making your way more inland to a great citadel that you've heard stories about. That would be really cool. That's kind of fun. So, it'll either be major cities that you can start at that players have formed, or we might try to say there's a central starting point or landing point.
All right, I like the sound of that. That sounds fun to me.
Sorry, guys, I got distracted. I was looking at Vox. I love them. They're so adorable.
So here's a good question. Can we place multiple deeds right next to each other if they're owned by the same player?
Place multiple deeds next to each other if... okay, so one player owns multiple deeds. So the answer is yes. Again, guys, these games are great, not because of the rules, but because of us repealing the rules and letting you go a little crazy. So the answer would be yes, but deed owners get a buff. All deed owners get, a trait, if you will, in the same way that exemplars have a trait. If you own a deed, you're going to be a trait, and we couldn't have those stack, I don't think. So if you own multiple deeds, you might have to align yourself with one of your deeds, and likely with a cooldown period. So you could place 2 or 3 down. You would have to say, this is where my permanent residence is. you would get that particular buff as a deed owner, and then it might be like a 24-hour cooldown for you to align with a different deed. We're looking right now at a bug of some kind on the server side, guys. It should be more players being allowed in. Some of the sockets are being, the connections are being reset. So we're pounding on that a little bit. Oh, that's a nice shot. Look at those zeros above the heads, guys. It's the worst. Oh my God, we should have disabled that. We do that to see like a unique identifier above everybody, and we used to be looking at those numbers trying to count, like and identify you as player 49 and you as, but we should have just disabled those for the build. We might be able to make some of those small tweaks during the week too, guys, and try to update that zip so that we can fix a couple things like that. But I hate seeing all those little bagels on the screen. It's kind of funny. I mean, I guess you could find your other friends that way.
Someone asks if there's going to be any kind of Axis scholarship mechanic in Mirandus. And what that, I think, effectively means, Michael, is can you let somebody else use your avatar?
He's doing the quiet thinking thing.
The quiet thinking thing. Yeah, I mean, so we've always wanted players to have the ability to rent equipment, if you will, right? Like, let's say you've got a really amazing sword or an incredible steed of some kind. I like the idea that could be rented to another player, and I feel like we should give players that kind of control. And I don't see why we couldn't let players rent an avatar. Nice. I think that'd be pretty rad, right?
Definitely.
Well, one of the central things that we're doing with GalaChain is making it possible for people to delegate access, so that you can have an NFT, and you can, rather than sending it to somebody, okay, which has this fear component to it. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know if I'll get it back. You can delegate access. So basically, to answer your question, Atomic, it's not a. And also, I hate the word scholarship. It seems like such a bad term to describe what that is. But there will be some sort of mechanism to allow people to use characters, and there will be some sort of way to manage that. We will never in a million years refer to it as scholarships, though.
I don't even know. I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
You can have alts. You can have many exemplars. That's for sure. Your account can only play one at a time, though. We can't have you controlling two characters at once, I don't think. We've talked about a mechanic where if you own a building, you might be able to set a character to craft something. And if we make crafting times really long, there might be this opportunity to be able to fire off a craft with your avatar, maybe even via app on your phone. This is one of the other conversations we've had. It's like, what if you're away from your PC? Could I still have some agency of control over what's happening in my buildings? Or I think that'd be really fun.
Yeah, for sure. I agree. Anyway, really quickly, for those of you who are just joining us, I am Jason Bitbender Brink, here with our CEO, Eric Schiermeyer, and the master of Mirandus, Michael McCarthy. And you can join our conversation by going to our Discord at GalaGames.chat. We are all in the Mirandus Discussion channel. So hop in, ask your questions. We're happy to answer any questions that you may have about Mirandus, or just other random stuff if something comes up. So yeah, feel free to drop in and say hi, and we're here waiting to hear from you.
Question to the Gala Gold community, who's watching this too. How's frame rate, guys?
Okay, let's see. How will we see the map to be able to place deeds? Will I be able to see all the current deeds on a map to plan best where to put my deeds?
Maps, I really want maps to be on chain. So,
Yeah, for sure.
if we even have an exemplar. It's a cartographer. I Again, guys, we're trying to simulate a world. We're trying to actually, like, if we could press a button right now and everyone just boop, appeared in a fantasy world. That's what we're trying to get to. So these games that other MMOs you've played that have a space shuttle cockpit of HUD items, we're trying to repeal all of that. It'll be easier to come into the game and just kind of walk around and be. The learning curve will be very small. I'm hoping, but if you know the layout of a zone or two or three, it should be because you have a map. Right. And the players that have explored those zones and built those maps.
Well, that's why we have the cartographer exemplars, right? Like,
they're going to hold that map. They're going to have that, and a map of a very rare or difficult to get to zone or region, or a dungeon should be incredibly awesome and rare and powerful to have. So, you're not going to get a top-down map of all of Mirandus and be able to point here and then boop, drop it. You're going to need to walk to that location and be there and
be a pioneer.
Your city. You're going to need everyone in Mirandus is a bit of a pioneer for sure.
So Matimio, who has joined us for the first time in our Discord, I believe, welcome, sir. We're very happy to have you here. Asks, will all exemplars look the same, or will there be unique characteristics? E.g., will the Riders of the North look the same, or will they have something different that sets them apart from other types?
I was hoping you would.
Huh?
I said I was hoping ask that one.
Say it again, Eric. I'm sorry.
I was hoping Jason would ask that one.
Oh, yeah. This is my thinking thing that Jason hates.
It's not that I hate it. It's just I'm waiting for an answer, and then all of a sudden it's
huge.
like
That's a huge. It's a huge question. Here's why. Every permutation of an avatar that ends up in the game means an additional level of support. For instance, if there's a different body shape, like if you look at a dwarf versus a human, if you have 10 different shapes of a dwarf, and you have kind of an archetypal male or female body structure, how many different, every time we release a new piece of armor that you guys can craft, how many versions of that do we need to create from an asset perspective to get it live into the game? And the reason that that's so important is the harder it is to get something into the game, the less stuff you have. And we're trying to make it easy for us to get stuff into the game so that zones can be populated with experiences that maybe only one player has ever seen. Maybe there's a rock, and behind that rock there's a hole you can crawl through, and someone might have just discovered it, and the game could have been out for a year. We're trying to build that kind of world because we think that'll be really cool. So we want a lot of different types of stuff to make it into the game. So we really need a production pipeline that allows for that. So I think all exemplars are going to look different. Like, all exemplars are going to have a slightly different physical characteristic. Maybe they'll all be a little larger than the regular vanilla characters. But I don't know if every single one of them would have a unique characteristic, maybe beyond a tattoo. Like, a tattoo wouldn't be hard to do, or a distinguishing mark of some kind. We could probably do that, but it couldn't be a massive structural change to the object.
Can you talk a little bit about majestic temples? Thomas would like some more information, and Thomas and I are good buds. So when Thomas asks a question, I try to answer it. Nice to meet you, Thomas, by the way.
Yeah, we see. I mean, we see temples as the central place to be healed, potentially buffed, and resurrected. I think, they're going to play a big role in that. One of the things that we've talked about with temples that I think is fun is, so here's some holy grail type stuff that we're trying to get to, guys. First off, can we get to sculptures in the world? Like, can we get to players being able to build their own, sculptures in the world that could exist on chain? Now, imagine in the temples, the finer your sculpture, the finer materials, it could potentially be a gateway to crafting or being able to bestow greater buffs upon people, or different resurrection types, or different, the larger your temple, maybe the grander, a statue could be, or this center point that helps you kind of channel your power. So, those are things that we're playing with. Sculptures, I think, would be very, very cool. I mean, it should be that people should visit your temple just to walk in and see it. And you're going to be able to upgrade the interiors of all your buildings. But I think, those upgrades, especially when you start getting to finer materials, should be incredibly difficult to come by. So if you walk in a building with a marble floor, it should be obviously one of the, the finer buildings in the lands type thing.
Vera Awesome has a question that I just want to make sure that we say. Vera asks, will there be ways to role play as a villain? And my answer to that would be, pay very close attention to announcements surrounding gallicon.
What?
Yeah,
What did
gallicon.
you say?
I have no idea what you are talking about.
Jason Bitbender Brink, you
Did
are
I
in
just-
trouble.
Did I leak something? Was I not supposed to do that? Oh.
Gonna go back and edit this video.
Erase it from the history.
Brink, you gotta report to the principal's office.
I report to the... Damn it. You leak things all the time. It's not fair.
He's the CEO, though.
You leak things...
He can be a leaky CEO.
Ooh, you are in trouble, Jason. You can't play the baby card anymore.
No,
Your mom's in
no.
town, so I know you got a good night's sleep.
No, I did. I got an amazing night's sleep. I went to sleep at like 10 and didn't wake up until 7. It was ridiculous.
Pay attention to announcements. Oh.
I just said pay attention to announcements. Here,
Moving
hold on.
Moving
Wait. How many avatars can live in a home? Pay attention to announcements from gallicon. Are we going to be able to utilize 2 exemplars at the same time? Pay attention to announcements regarding gallicon. And there you go.
No, some of those are very good questions. I actually want to answer some of those. If you own a building, I think the way we're thinking of it is in the same way that, in your neighborhood in real life, it's like you might have a friend that you trust or a family member, and you can kind of give them a key. And, so I think the way we're thinking of it is that if you own a building, you get to assign kind of read and write privileges to that building. So that's kind of how we're thinking of it.
Michael, one of the things that come up a lot in the Discord is what happens if somebody stops playing Mirandus or dies, or
I saw that.
People
Great
are
question.
generally worried about what, some like the town of the Duke, suddenly it's a ghost town. Like, how are we going to handle that?
Well, so, the way we're kind of thinking of it is that deed owners can, so deed owners place this blueprint down, right? And then players can come to those plots and say, okay, I'd like to put this here. And the deed owner can, will have kind of a running deal that they could assign to those areas and say, yeah, if you give me, 100 coin, I will let you place your building on here for 3 months. Or a month or something, however they want to structure it. We want to give them those tools to operate their deed. If that elapses, then I think that building would just get removed. They're no longer paying their fees to the deed owner, and that building would just have to disappear. Now that would be disappearing in game. But, if somebody is, this is on chain, guys, we can't make it go away. So, let's say someone has a town of the Archduke and it's one of the greatest, most thriving towns in the land. And yeah, they just disappear. that town would remain. And, we can't take it out of your wallet. It's possible that we could have a bit of a heartbeat. Like we can't, once buildings are there, guys, the deed owner can't just move their town. It's like a deed owner dropping something down is making a promise, and the building owners are counting on their buildings being there. So let's say their lease or whatever runs out. Well, the building owner, the deed owner could choose not to renew, but I think he's going to have to clear those buildings off his land for him to pick up a deed and try to place it in a new location, because otherwise they could just rip it out of there every time, at will. And I don't think that'd be okay. So there's, so there might need to be, I don't know, there might need to be some activity surrounding deed ownership that says if you're 100% idle for X number of days, that something would happen there.
Yeah,
yeah, it's a hard one to figure out, but it's the building owners to me are the anchors.
We could potentially, do it sort of the way that we were discussing in the hypothetical event in which a Citadel didn't sell, where you could potentially have it and allow people to move in and have it be sort of an ungoverned space. So if authority has lapsed for a certain period of time and it's already been placed, suddenly, anyone can show up and place something, and it becomes this sort of Wild West thing until somebody reasserts control over the region.
That is interesting. So X number of days idle could mean that the deed control goes into a war state, if you will. You can announce that essentially we could put you in a faction that says, I'm taking over this deed. And then, that would kick off like a 10-day timer where anyone else could announce that they want to take over that deed. And you could be in PvP.
That would be super cool.
That would be super cool. But you can't take the deed. It's a control issue. And if the person shows back up that has their deed and they log back in and,
reap the benefits of that.
But precisely, they could reap the benefits. I like that as an idea.
If they're AFK, we're not transferring a token from the wallet. You're not
good, very clear.
You're not taking
super clear on that.
It's in your wallet. We can't do it. But you could, if you go AFK for 90 days or something. Yeah, players could reap the benefits of your not being active in the world, maybe.
No, I love that idea. Can you imagine going through the forest as a new player? And you come across a homestead that someone placed half a year ago in the middle of nowhere that nobody's looked at. And it's this broken down old place. And you come in and say, this is where I'm going to live for now. I love that idea. I love that idea so much.
I think I'm hearing from the engineers that we might be able to get more people in the game if we reset the server. And I'm looking at kind of how hard that would be, guys, and when it would be back up. Well, it's very easy to restart, but a non-zero chance that it won't restart. It'd be down about 60 seconds.
Do it.
But I think it would.
Okay.
Let's leave it up. Let's leave it up for now. But we might try to reset it here in a little bit, and it should come right back up after 60 seconds, and then more players be able to get in.
Hey, Mystical Oaks says that she wants us to reset it. So, and Panda Pops really wants to get in and is on Twitter saying that she needs to get in. So if we reset it and give the two of them a chance, I'm pretty happy with that.
We could try. You guys want to do it? Ultimate break Mirandus mode. Community vote. Should we just reset this thing and see what happens?
I say just reset it. Let's see what happens. Pork Chop says go. Oh,
hold on.
Mystical's I just got in. Never mind. Maybe don't reset it.
One of the engineers is why wouldn't it restart? This is so good. All right, are we saying go for it?
We're saying go. We're saying go.
Wait, Mr. Brainer's like, no, I just got in. Panda Pops wants the reset. Well, I'll tell you what, while we're live right now, it would be nice to reset it, make sure it comes back online, and see if more players can get in.
That's a good idea. There you go.
You guys want to do it?
Let's do it. Pull the plug.
Oh, Mr. Brainer, I'm so sorry. Are you running around, Mr. Brainer? Mr. Brainer, run around for like 60 seconds or something, man. Check it out. Because what's happening is the total number of players, guys, is starting to diminish. Like, it's blocking new entries. So it's like a lot more players will be able to get in if we push the reset button. So, Mr. Brainer, have you had a chance to run around yet? Gala Gold love, dude. We're giving you some extra time.
We're nuking it from orbit here, though. What are the buildings used in this test? I think those are just placeholder buildings right now. They're not specific assets, correct, McCarthy?
No, we're playing with kind of what would the art look like and what would we need to do. And those we're playing around with actual buildings. There's a mill there. Let me
Punjab says, how does the team like the idea of a billboard on deeds in the deed community that you can use to give and receive tasks or quests for other players to fulfill through smart contracts? Like, I give you X for providing Y, all done through the billboard, kind of like a DEX for items or services. I freaking love that idea.
Yeah, you bet, man. That'd just be the bestest.
That's brilliant.
So I mean, we're kind of tweaking an outpost, guys, just so you know, like where, there's a mill, there's a granary, there's like a simple storehouse, there's a meat stand, and we're trying to get like a simple tannery in place as well. Just stuff that allows you to kind of collect some basic resources from the world and start to craft it. What we're getting to is a zone where you can start with nothing and build yourself up, maybe some leather armor, a few things like that. So, Outpost is a really small chunk, and it's great when you're kind of prototyping this stuff to get a feel for what the game is going to be like. And if that's working, then we'll just build out a larger and larger town. All right, guys, I think we're gonna go for it and go for the reset. Brace for impact. Mr. Brainer, is it cool? Okay, it's cool.
Let's do it.
I'm hearing it's cool. All right, go for it. Here we go, guys.
How many people are you hoping we'll be able to get in now?
Well, what happened was it started at 100, and then there's something happening. There's something happening where it's starting to block ports or something over time. I'm butchering it, dude. I'm so not an engineer. So the number of players that are able to get in is diminishing the longer it goes on. It looks like total number of people that have been able to get in is 1,500 or so.
Beautiful.
Oh, nice.
I'm checking on that stat again.
Oh, Mystical Oak says she's back in already. So it looks like we're up and running again.
Yeah, 17 in, 22 in, 31 in, 40 in, 48. Yeah, Mr. Brainer's back in. Yeah, 55. So it's climbing up. It's climbing up. Well,
awesome, guys. Well,
yeah.
hey.
So anyway, guys, so if we start to notice this again and the number starts dipping in or getting low, then we'll just be resetting it to refresh it maybe during this time, and then we'll be identifying what's causing this, and we'll try to maybe push something new to the server this week. But we'll keep the server up and running all week, guys, so that people that have, if they have an exemplar, that they'll have a chance to play. This isn't that only. We're not going to leave it up for just an hour or two. We're going to give it a full week.
So everyone who has an exemplar, should be able to get in and play at some point in time. And anyway, guys,
Mr.
let's
Rayner's like parkour zone.
parkour.
Well, you know, it's funny.
Do you get any streamers?
Yeah.
we
There's
were
a few people streaming. I saw a few on YouTube that were streaming. That's
Cool.
good.
There's a it's like the funnest part of the demo right now is jumping on trees, baby. I love it too. It's so much fun. It's like jump around the trees and see where you can go. That's so weird, man. What are those words people keep finding?
Weird, right?
Yeah.
Weird. And yes, it's not working on Mac because we haven't released a Mac build. That's a thing that will happen in the future at some point. Anyway, guys, let's go ahead and wrap this up. I've got a few things that we need to get on for today, and thank you very much for joining us. Does anyone else have any closing thoughts here? McCarthy's typing. Eric is quiet.
I'm typing. I'm talking with my folks, with my peeps.
With your peeps. Okay. Well then let's go ahead and wrap it up. Anything you would like to say, Eric? Share final thoughts.
Well, just hopefully someone figures out what those words are all about. I'm really curious.
It's weird, right? I don't know how they got that. I don't know what they mean.
Yeah, just words.
Weird. Probably means nothing.
Yeah, ignore the words, guys.
Yeah, probably ignore them.
Yeah, probably nothing.
Cool, guys. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I am Jason Bitbender Brink, president of blockchain at GalaGames. Our CEO, Eric Schiermeyer, is here, and Michael McCarthy, the master of Mirandus. So we will see you guys soon. Thank you for joining us, and join our Discord at GalaGames.chat. We will be sticking around probably and chatting a little bit there, but we're going to go ahead and end the stream now. So, peace.
Bye, guys.